Can you please present yourself? Tell a bit more what you're doing.
Yeah, my name's Dr. Ken Webster. I'm a visiting professor at Cranfield University in the UK, and I was formerly head of innovation at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which was a big circular economy, or still is a big circular economy organization.
Hmm. Circular economy. What is exactly circular economy is?
Yeah, the best way to answer the question about what a circular economy is to point out what isn't a circular economy. We have at the moment a linear economy, which is a take, make, and dispose economy. We just increase throughput, use resources up, and we get a mountain of waste. Now, this is feeding back into the system terribly. Everything from land degradation to climate change to polluted oceans full of plastic waste. So a circular economy is trying to design out some of these problems. It's redesigning products, components, and materials so they stay in high value, they're used for longer periods, and they're intelligently recovered. It doesn't mean just recycling, taking a lot of rubbish and processing it. It's carefully identifying what is valuable and reworking it. So that's the ambition in a circular economy. And I think 75 nations now have roadmaps or plans to increase the amount of circularity in their economies.
And when we are talking about circular economy, mostly we are talking about material cycle, but it's not only the material cycle.
No,
Could you?
the interesting thing about circularity is how it talks about feedback, because obviously things that go in a circle feed back. Now, a circular economy is about maintaining capitals, natural capital like the forests and oceans and fisheries and so on. It might be social capital too, which is the way people behave in communities. And it might also be the manufactured or industrial capital. Now, why not money too? Because that is a key flow in the economy. People don't talk so much about how money flows around the economy, but it's very important because at the moment we have about $305 trillion of debt floating around the economy. And this really encourages more production. It encourages building of infrastructure, but all of it is debt. It has to be paid. The interest has to be paid on it. And so the economy accelerates even faster to produce more gains to pay back the interest. But this doesn't really circulate to the base. This circulates within a money cycle, the financial system, more than it does down to everyday people's lives. So trying to think how we stop being extractive in material cycles lends the idea that we should stop being extractive in the money cycle. We should make sure sufficient money circulates back to maintain the productive economy on which everything else is based.
Could you tell a bit more about your work with the social dividends and how it's related to the circular economy topic?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was invited to do some work with the Club of Rome around their new book in 22 called Earth for All. And they were looking at the ways in which we could find a way out for humanity that was constructive, positive. Uh, and they came across 5 turnarounds in food and energy and poverty. Inequality was a key one, and gender issues, emancipation. So one of these was particularly interesting to me, and I was invited into the writing team to contribute. And this was the idea of a social dividend. It wasn't my idea, but it was reasonably interesting to the Club of Rome. And the idea is that almost all resources, in a way, belong to all of us. The name of the book is Earth for All, after all. And so if we, in a way, have a claim on the atmosphere, on the minerals and whatever, what's happened? What's happened is very few people have grabbed hold, they've enclosed these commons. And they make super profits on this activity, way more than they need to run the business. So the idea was, and it's the idea of people like Peter Barnes and others, the idea is that if we charge a fee for the extraction of resources or for the use of the atmosphere, carbon pollution. And then we put this in a fund and then distribute it to everybody. It allows us to charge more for energy, for minerals, for products. And that suddenly makes it interesting for a circular economy. Because a circular economy has a problem when the linear economy is so cheap. I'll just get something new, get some different stuff. It all goes into waste anyway. But if the real price is in the products, components, and materials, people think, maybe I could recover that. Maybe I could recycle that. Maybe I could not waste it in the first place. But the social dividend protects poor people from the impacts of the rising prices. And that's a key thing. You're not going to go to a circular economy and just say, hey, you've got to pay the real price of these things. The poor are going to be crippled by that. So unless you have some ideas about supporting the poor, and they don't do the most damage, the poor are not the ones who are polluting the planet. It's the richer folks, I suppose, including myself, the top 20, 25% in the world. They're the ones that are making the problems. The poor need protecting from these sorts of high prices. And so that is good because it encourages circular economy. It also makes local production and consumption more competitive. And that encourages an opportunity to build the economy from the base up. It means using more local resources in a more creative way. So it helps poorer people. It's a cash dividend. It's not means tested. Everybody gets it. It's easy to put into place, and if it's put through a citizens fund, it can't be issued because it's an entitlement. It can't be taken away by the government for something else. It's just pay the fees, give it to the people, and it encourages different forms of economic activity, encourages security, and it's very good in many parts of the world. Women often depend on men to get their money or to how it's spent. And this is going to everybody, and disadvantaged communities, they get it. People in there get it as well. And in a way, this ties together nicely with a lot of the ambition in a circular economy. And so I'm quite proud to be able to try and link the two, which it's not always done in the literature at all, not yet. But thanks to the work of the Club of Rome, many more people are looking at that as part of potential solution to get a turnaround in terms of inequality as one of the 5 turnarounds that are needed.
And the last question is, could you please give some 2, 3, 4 steps for like normal people how to move towards the circular economy?
Interesting, the circular economy is more about the relationship between businesses. It's not necessarily what I can do. And that's quite interesting because many people have got this idea that, you need to be a better person. The circular economy hints at the idea as you need better products and services that are naturally easy to manage. It's not you. I mean, sure, if you want to buy some of these products, but you don't sell it on circular economy. You sell it on being a better product, which has less impact. So the main thing is to make it an economic opportunity for people, not a guilt thing. It's not a guilt thing. If it is, it won't work, because only the better off can say, yes, I bought this because I'm feeling guilty about the environment. Whereas people should say, yeah, I buy that. It's a better service. It's a better product. It's better designed. My shirt has a tag on it where I can send it back to the manufacturer, free postage, things like that. That's what people are expecting. They're expecting a good quality of life, but with a more intelligent use of product components and materials. So I'm not going to give 4 steps to what a person can do. I'm going to say to manufacturers and suppliers, how far are you along the road to delivering better quality products and services to people that help meet some of these challenges that are going on?
Okay, thank you very much.